Retailers are bracing for a holiday shopping season unlike any other. Sales are expected to grow about 2.4%. That's at least according to Mastercard. They're out with a new survey pointing to a shift in where consumers are likely to shop throughout the holidays. It's all about shopping, supporting local and small businesses. Let's bring in Steve Sadov. He is Mastercard's senior advisor and former Saks chairman and CEO. Steve, it's good to talk to you. Certainly great to get your insight on a really busy week for retailers. Let's start with big picture here first, because we've been talking to a number of guests who've said, look, it's not about Black Friday and Cyber Monday anymore. It's about all of October and all of November as retailers started their discounts early to try and get those shoppers spending again.
Absolutely. It's an early, longer season. I think it's a little bit less promotional season than we've seen in the past, but it's all about letting the consumer feel safe, letting the consumer feel like that they are in an environment where they're going to be wanting to shopping. And you saw it early on, whether it was the Amazon Prime Day, you saw the other retailers starting in early October, and the consumer's been responding. The sales in October and through the middle of November, as measured by the Mastercard Spending Pulse data, is showing that the consumer's retail growth is in the 4 or 5% growth range. So the consumer's out there shopping, clearly shopping differently than they have in the past, but the retail sales are there.
What we've seen over the course of this pandemic is that retailers or consumers increasingly want everything online and they want it right away. And yet that seems to run counter to what you found in your survey, which is that even in spite of all of that, there are consumers who are increasingly going to look to shop local, help a lot of the small businesses that have been especially hit hard as a result of all of these health restrictions.
Yes, the Mastercard Spending Pulse survey data is saying the consumer wants to stay close to home. They see that the local retailers have been suffering, so they want to support them. On the other hand, if you look at the data, they're also supporting the big box retailers where it's all-in-one shopping. They're able to feel safe, and the numbers coming out of the big box retailers for the third quarter are extremely strong. So it's a combination of wanting to support local brands, wanting to be socially responsible. Attitudinally, the consumer feels the pain that these small retailers are feeling, but they also are out there shopping in the big boxes as well.
Steve, Dan Roberts here. If we zoom out a little bit and look beyond the holiday shopping season, let's look at after the pandemic, whenever that might be, whenever it might be behind us. One of the fascinating questions has been whether these retail trends will continue the way they've been, or whether it'll change a little bit back to before the pandemic. And specifically with e-commerce, I mean, so many physical chains have seen huge surges. Walmart, Target, Best Buy, Urban Outfitters, just huge numbers here. And I know that e-commerce's share of overall US retail spending has accelerated dramatically during the pandemic. So what do you see happening afterward, especially with trends like, curbside pickup taking off? Are a lot of people just going to decide that this is their new normal? And even once the pandemic's gone, maybe they see no reason anymore to go shop in person at a physical store?
Yeah, I think there's no question that we've seen, whether it's 8 years of change in 8 months or 6 years of change in 6 months, what's happened is that the underlying trends towards digitization have accelerated. They're going to continue to accelerate. They'll go off of this base to a higher level. What I'm seeing is the consumer wants product anywhere, anytime that they want to get it and what's convenient for them. Now they know how to do curbside pickup. They're going to continue to want to do that. But remember, when you say that 20% of commerce is online, that means that 80% of commerce is still in a physical store. So we can't look at this as being online only. It's omni-channel. That you have to have a single view of the customer. You've got to be able to do the buy online, pick up curbside or in the store. None of that's going to go away. Having said that, as soon as we feel comfortable with the vaccines, you're going to see behavior of people going back into the stores. It's going to be different. The DTC brands, for direct-to-consumer brands, that are going to be opening up more stores because of the interplay between people wanting to shop online or in a physical store. All these trends are going to be accelerated. The trends of the winners that were winning beforehand and the losers that were losing, that trend is going to continue and be accelerated. But there's no question that the digitization trends are going to be an everyday part of our lives.
Steve, how do you think these big department stores are looking at their physical footprint right now? You look at a name like Macy's, for example, they've obviously had a number of store closures already, but more recently, they've sort of experimented using their dark stores as fulfillment centers. Is that where some of these stores that have already closed, is that a better use for them at a time when there's a lot of questions about, how do the malls pivot? How do these unused spaces become best utilized? I mean, is Macy's tapping into something you think a lot of department stores are looking at now?
Well, you've seen a consolidation in the department store sector for years, and there's going to continue to be a fallout. And you've seen a number of bankruptcies, not just in department stores, but in other apparel stores that have accelerated because of the pandemic. Right now, you have probably a third too many malls in the United States. So a number of the C and D, meaning the less productive malls over the next several years, will go under. Some of them may become distribution centers. Some of them may become educational, healthcare. I think that this mixed use of malls, whether it's going to be for work, live, play, that's all going to become a part of the future. So you're going to have a repurposing. You don't need as many stores as you have in the United States. If 20% or more of it is going to be digital, you're going to need less of a physical footprint. You're going to have a resetting of rents in the United States. That's going to occur over time. But it's going to be a smarter retail. It's going to be more integrated with the digital experience. But I think that the A malls, meaning the high-end productive malls, will continue to thrive. You're going to see them be different kinds of experiences. You're going to have to now think about, how do you create that experience? How do you train associates to give them the analytical tools that the consumer is going to want to have to be able to have that seamless experience? The skill sets that a lot of the department store retailers or other retailers, they're merchants. They don't have some of these analytical skills. That's where, whether it's the Mastercard or others, are bringing to them a lot of the analytics, the segmentation, the data, personalization. That's all going to be a part of how these department stores evolve, because the traditional buy other people's product, pile it high, sell it to the consumer, that's not the name of the game anymore. It's really understanding that consumer and sorting a store very differently than they have in the past.
Yeah, no question. That data even more important, especially in such an environment it's changing rapidly. Steve Sadov, Senior Advisor at Mastercard, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.